Okay guys, Steve Small Engine Saloon again. Thanks for coming back. One of the most commonly asked questions by a customer when they come into a small engine shop is, I have a chainsaw, I have a weed eater, I have a two-stroke engine. How much oil am I supposed to put in this thing? Well, thanks to the metric system, this is super easy to do. This is super easy to figure out yourself. What are you going to need to do this? Obviously, you need a jerry can. You need some mix oil. Unless you're a mathematical genius like me, you need a calculator. You also need a beer. So, one thing I have to show you on this before we start. These red plastic jerry cans, like this one right here is the most commonly used one for a homeowner. It's a 5-liter jerry can. It says 5 liters right there. There's a line right there. That's 5 liters to the line. There's a big difference between where that line is and where you can fill it right to the top where it's overflowing. These red plastic jerry cans are actually semi-transparent. You can see the level of the gas if you look close enough. You can see where it's coming up. You want it to the line. All of these plastic ones have that, whether it's a 5-liter, a 10-liter, 20-liter. They all have that line on there. So don't fill it past the line or your ratio is going to be not exactly correct. Now, you need to figure out how many milliliters are in this, because mix oil is in milliliters. To calculate this properly, you have to have them equal. Milliliters in your oil, you don't need to know how many milliliters of gas are in your jerry can, your gas can. Super easy to do. 5-liter jerry can, you times it by 1,000. A 5-liter jerry can is 5,000 milliliters. 10-liter jerry can, 10,000 milliliters. 20-liter jerry can is 20,000 milliliters. So now you know how many milliliters are in this. The next thing you need to know is what ratio that you want to mix your gas at. Now, all the new equipment out there all recommend 50-to-1 mix. I personally have always mixed my gas at 40-to-1, just a personal preference of mine. There's some old school guys out there that still like to mix their gas at 32-to-1. Some two-stroke outboard manufacturers out there recommend 100-to-1 mix for their outboards. So figure out what ratio you want to mix your gas at. Now you got to pull your calculator out. We're going to go with the easy one here, with the regular homeowner one, a 5-liter jerry can. And maybe you got a new chainsaw, you got a new weed eater, you know that they're recommended for 50-to-1. So, how many milliliters are in this? 5,000 milliliters. Go 5,000 on your calculator. You want 50-to-1 mix in that, simply divide it by 50. Equals 100. 100 milliliters of oil in this jerry can, when you fill it to the line, is going to be a perfect 50-to-1 mix. Okay, if you're like me, I want to go 40-to-1. 5,000 milliliters divided by 40, because I'm going 40-to-1, equals 125. Now you put 125 milliliters in this, and it's going to be a perfect 40-to-1 mix. Now, maybe you're a landscaper. You mix up a ton of mixed gas at a time. Maybe you got a lot of equipment on your own. You mix up 20 liters of mixed gas at a time. Let's say we're mixing this old school, and we're going to go to 32-to-1. 20,000 milliliters in that one divided by 32 equals 625. 625 milliliters in this jerry can right here when you fill it up to that 20-liter mark, is going to be a perfect 32-to-1 mix. Okay, here's one outboard. There's an outboard can right there. It says 12 liters on there to that line. 12 liters. 12,000 milliliters. Go 12,000 on your calculator. Your outboard recommends 100-to-1. 12,000 divided by 100 equals 120. 120 milliliters in that is going to be 100-to-1 mix. For all y'all Americans out there, I'm sorry to say, but the entire world is on the metric system except for y'all. And that's just one of the reasons right there, because calculations like this are just so easy with the metric system. Before I go, I got a couple little tips here for you. Just quickly, you got an empty jerry can, you're mixing it up, put your oil in there first. And then when you're putting your straight raw gas in there, whether it be right out of the gas pump or whether you got like a big quantity like this of just raw straight gas for your riding lawnmower, put your oil in there first, pour your raw gas in there afterwards, and then as that raw gas is going in there, it's churning it up, it's mixing that mix oil for you. If you put your oil in afterwards, swish it around, make sure that's mixed up good in there. The other little tip I had for you was that we all know that the bigger quantity you buy of something, the cheaper it is. You buy it in bulk, it's going to be cheaper. If you know you're mixing up this all the time, because you're a homeowner, you only mix up 5 liters at a time. This is a little bottle right here, a 100 milliliter bottle, is perfect 50-to-1 mix in there. Buy one of them little ones, use it, pour it in there, keep that little empty container. It's a perfect measuring container now. Then go buy yourself a big bottle of mix oil and just use that as a measuring container. Pour it in there, perfect. You know you got 100 milliliters in there, dump it in there. Good little tip right there. So I think that was pretty clear. Metric system rules, man. So yeah, if you think that was helpful, you like that, see that little mark right down in the corner, right down and around here somewhere, bottom right hand corner, there's a little subscribe button. It says click to subscribe. Click that. Doesn't cost you anything. Super easy. Steve out.